time no see, huh?
I'm back, baby.
Alrighty, testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello again. I just wanted to take a second before this video starts to introduce you to my voice, as well as let you know that if this video isn't enough for you to get your fix of content, I am back to streaming. I'll throw up the address really quickly. Alright, shameless promotion aside, as a heads up, this video is meant to be both informative and a bit of a joke. You might learn a thing or two amidst my rambling, but also not to take it too seriously. And also, I do read the comments you guys leave. All of them. Please don't witch hunt this guy. And as to why this video wasn't out sooner, well...
I'll take that.
Now that we have that out of the way, I'll get you guys well on your way to maining my favorite bottom tier character.
I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so this might move around a little bit, but hey. It was a character... Say this was week 1, right? And keep in mind, mathematically, with buffs, hits only gotten better, right? But the meta's kind of passed them by, and we figure out stuff.
My beat skip is untimable.
This tutorial is kind of going to be done under the assumption that you are semi-aware of what you're doing, or you've played this game before, or you've held a controller before, and you don't really need to be instructed on how to press the square button. And not to mention, there's already a heap of guides out there that cover the super basics, so I'm not really going to bother wasting your time or mine. But speaking of the square button, if you've ever played this game before, you're probably familiar with it. Hit slide auto combo is actually one of the best in the game, if I'm being honest. Bar a few others. But probably one of the most noticeable things about it is simply just how high it reaches. It's kind of absurd. And if we take a look here at an artist's rendition of how high the hitbox actually is, you'll probably find out why. And it is 100% unbeatable. Unless they backdash, in which case, why are you actually of course, wouldn't really be mentioning his auto combo, and not his resets. However, I will be kind of covering that in its own section of the video, so I gotta give you an excuse to stick around until then. Alright, next are his other buttons, which travel pretty far.
There's no way a punch can hit me from that distance.
His standing medium is essentially just your bread and butter. It's your go-to for everything. Reflect, standing medium. Your backdash, standing medium. Their backdash, standing medium. They exist anywhere on screen at any time, standing medium. Round start, standing... Actually, don't do that. Because his standing heavy is basically just the same thing anyway. And his 2H is nothing special, but could probably be a lot worse. Alright, now it's time to get onto the juicy stuff.
What are those Neanderthals up to? Don't they know I'm busy spoiling myself?
His light stance is probably the best move in Hit's entire arsenal. And specifically from that is Vital Point, which is done by entering the stance and then pressing light again. It's primarily used for combo enders and extenders, so going into it into an assist whether you're mid-screen or in the corner.
Divine Fury! Over here. I'll do the final blow. This is the stance.
And to top it all off, this move is also a frame trap, which means when used in a block string, it gives your opponent just enough time to do something, but nowhere near enough time for that to actually come out. This move also has an insane amount of priority. So for the love of God, please respect this move.
Let's begin.
I think he actually has another move off this stance by pressing medium. What was it called again? Oh. This move actually does kind of suck. Pressing the heavy button off of his light stance gives you a move that makes you invincible. 100% invincible to everything. Except me.
Okay.
Moving on to his next stance, which is done by using medium instead of light when pressing down forward to enter it, and this one is extremely unique in that nothing can touch you while you're in it, even sparking.
Here it comes. He's just standing there, menacingly!
And his heavy stance is basically the same, but has the fastest startup and cancel time out of all three. Which allows you to do the most important thing in this game. And pressing light in either of these two stances gives you hits only projectile. It's not amazing. I wouldn't recommend using it for anything other than combos or trying to swat someone out of the air. Also, don't use it into vanish on block unless you're an idiot, like me.
Oh no!
Now for the next move, the cross-up, the nothing personal. Now this move actually can be surprisingly effective. The difficult part is that it's only effective in certain situations. And you have to put yourself in that situation. And I do recommend going straight into super if you do land, because the damage you get otherwise is just... Also has command grabs, which are basically the real life version of the floor is lava, only it's ice or something. Also in addressing his high-low game, I'm just gonna let this next clip speak for itself.
And now what you've all been waiting for! Dang it! I saw that coming! Dang it!
Excellent.
Hold your fire! This man isn't black! What?
Now, despite what you might think, Hit is actually a character that does require you to use your brain to play well. And I know what you're thinking. But RaptR, I chose a character with crazy reaching normals to specifically avoid this one thing. Well, if that's the case, I think I know another character that might suit you a little better. Some of you out there might have your doubts about my ability to play neutral.
Him out. He's gonna fake him out completely with that Vegeta.
But trust me, You might not believe it, but I am actually a neutral master. As mentioned earlier, one of Hit's most prominent game plans is you're mostly trying to get away with your absurd normals, frame traps, and whiff punishing. Also trying to catch your opponent doing dumb things, as Hit cannot be approached from the air. So I will say this once. Do not super dash at this character.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up...
So as far as neutral goes, Hit quite literally has an answer for every single means of approach towards him. Meaning, if played right, your opponent has to play the game by your rules, and giving you essentially complete control over the neutral. Approach on the ground, see Exhibit A of standing medium. This opponent won't get out of the air, his light stance is actually plus on block when blocked airborne. Approach with assist, his movement option of down forward special is projectile invincible. Try to use projectile assist or projectile yourself, grounded counter can punish you completely. However, it does come at a risk. All his furthest reaching normals and specials can be hit as they travel. Anytime he's traveling, he can essentially just be knocked out of it by the slightest gust of wind.
That was lucky.
And you might also be inclined to use his movement options as a means to get in. Now, these tools are great when used correctly, however, when used incorrectly,
How about
So something I forgot to mention entirely is the fact that Hit cannot really deal with armor, at least very well. He usually has to counter it directly, or he's pretty much just shit out of luck. There's not a whole lot he can really do as to break armor. It's hard to deal with. Anyway, his other movement option, which is his command backdash, and this move is quite significant as it lets you essentially keep up your pressure for free, or get you out of harm's way, as it leaves you at the perfect distance to avoid things like Dragon Rush, slides, long-reaching normals, the works.
Yikes.
Alright, let's get on to what people are probably more interested in, which is the resets. I still do adamantly believe that his resets are one of his better mix-up options. So let's take a quick look at it, shall we?
You won't be able to block this.
Or can you?
Now, first and foremost, I will say that I can't stress this enough, that as good of a mixing tool as this has the potential to actually be, its primary and most useful usage is by far the ability to just stay on top of your opponent, rather than taking a risk for potential damage. And we'll take a look really quickly at why this is. Because in most tech scenarios, the game actually affords you more defensive tools than you have offensive tools to keep them locked down. So they have more ways to escape your mix-up than you have to enforce it on them. So rather than doing that, much more effective to just take the option of keeping a lid on them or trying to stay on top of them, as Hit kind of has all the tools you need and more to excel in this area. Let's see his options here. Jump, assist, up tech, down tech into buttons, back tech into buttons, tag out, tech forward, super dash, falling heavy, falling medium, DP, roll level 3, reflect, delay tag, delay DP, pull the plug. So, suffice to say, they've got options. But for people just starting to get into this character or are unaware of his resets and the like, the most basic rundown I can give is cancelling his auto combo, obviously, into his movement options, but my recommendation is using his movement option always into light stance, as I did mention before, it is plus on block, which, for those unaware, means you can move well before they can. So the reset functions as essentially stealing your turn back, so I can press buttons again, not you. Simply going from there, getting used to that before you try to venture into anything else, as eventually, as you get more familiar with the character, you might decide, hey, I'm going to use medium stance in this situation, and it slowly evolves from there, so you're not forcing yourself to use tools you're unfamiliar with or feeling like you're not playing as well as you should because you're not using all the tools at your disposal. It does come naturally. It just takes practice.
Now then, it's time for me to make the donuts. Congrats on being a fast learner. Here ends the lesson.